Hello, welcome to a new video of Dynasty War. In this video, we'll take a look at the Greedy Captains. The Greedy Captain is the third troop you unlock in the barracks. They're a relatively cheap troop. They only take 2 housing space and they move very fast. And the specialty is that they target resource building first, and they actually do 2 times the damage to resource buildings. So that makes them a really good choice to loot. And at prestige, about 2,000 or under 2,000 prestige, that's the place where you will find a lot of abandoned base and computer generated base where the resources are located outside of the base. They're located in the farms and the markets, which are usually placed at the border of the base, while the storage has nothing and they're placed at the inside. So that is the perfect time to use the Greedy Captains. Obviously, you can do the same thing with archers, but archer is much more expensive and they're not really suitable for looting. Let's take a look at the level 5 archer and Greedy Captains. The level 5 archer has a DPS of 39, while the Greedy Captain has 62. Keep in mind that it's actually 2 times of that. So at level 5, Greedy Captains can have 124 DPS against resource buildings. That is a little bit less than 4 times of an archer. An archer has 63 HP and a Greedy Captain has 78 HP. So they have more HP, they last longer, they can probably survive 1 catapult shot. That makes them very good because it will result in using less troops. And the other thing to keep in mind is that at level 5, the Greedy Captain costs half as much as the archers. That means it's more cost effective to use Greedy Captains in that situation. However, archers obviously can shoot through walls, their range, but since these bays have their resource on the outside already, you don't really need that. You really want high movement speed, high damage, so they can loot as fast as possible, die as little troops as possible, and retreat, or if you want to, you can finish the base off. And obviously, you don't use 100 Greedy Captains, you probably need only 40 Greedy Captains to do something that you need 100 archers to do. So that is the first thing that you can use Greedy Captains for, is to loot cost effectively and time effectively. However, the other thing that I use Greedy Captains are, I still use them at a higher prestige level. I'll just bring about 20 of them, and basically I'll do the same thing. I use them to target resource buildings on the outside. However, the main point is not to loot. The main point is to destroy the resource building on the outside so that my main heroes and my main troops can focus in one direction and head toward the center of the base. And you can probably do the same thing with archers, but the same idea is Greedy Captains walk faster, they have higher damage so they can actually destroy the stuff faster, and they don't die as easy, so they can actually finish the building. And I probably don't need to use as much Greedy Captains as archers if I use the archers to do that. And the other good thing about using Greedy Captain is that their movement speed is very high, so they can actually activate traps without getting affected by the traps. Unless the traps are placed like right next to the building that they are attacking, so they're standing there. But other than that, they run pretty fast, they go everywhere. Their pathfinding is weird too, and that's a good thing because you want them to cover more distance, cover more ground, so that they can activate most traps, so that when you use your main troops and your hero, they don't get affected by these traps, because they will activate any kinds of traps, and they probably will not get affected by any of them because their movement speed is 4 right now, and you can actually increase that with treasure. So they will just take out all the traps, and a lot of people use that to take out the traps inside the base, because once you clear the outside, the Greedy Captains will target the storage that is located inside, and they will try to find a way to get there, and they will basically activate all the traps. So that's another way to use Greedy Captains. Another good place to use the Greedy Captain is during Alliance Dungeon, because they have a pretty high DPS and a high HP, but low housing space. So that's a good thing. And we'll compare it to Alchemist, because that's probably one of the better troops to use in Alliance Dungeon. Alchemist costs 4 housing space, while the Greedy Captains cost 2, so you can have 2 Greedy Captains compared to 1 Alchemist. An Alchemist at level 5 has 170 DPS. The 2 Greedy Captains will add up to 124, which is there's a difference of 40 DPS. However, HP wise, they're around 100-ish, so they're pretty much the same. But the catch is you have more units. You have 2 units compared to 1 unit. That means as your troops get killed, your damage output does not drop as drastically as if you have all Alchemists. Because once your Alchemists die, you just lose 170 DPS right away. Compared to your Greedy Captains, you're only losing 62 each unit. You're losing. However, as a group, it's really vulnerable to traps such as the big bombs, so you have to avoid that and just test the traps out before you use all of the troops at once. And since the greedy captains at level 5, they have enough HP to sustain 1 or 2 catapult shot. If you have healer healing them or the healing tricks, they can survive for a long time. The only thing that can kill them in one shot is the enemy hero's skill, and it depends on which hero you're attacking. Some of them has area effect damage, some of them is single targeted, so that will be fine. So in Alliance Dungeon, you really want some troops that have enough HP that they will not die to anything in one shot, and they have enough damage to do your main damage. And the other thing is you don't want them to take up as much space as possible. So using a greedy captain's only taking 2 housing space, you can have a lot of them, and that is something good about it. For example, if I'm using Zhao Yun, I really want more units in front of him so that the Purgatory Tower has more targets to hit instead of hitting my Zhao Yun. Because even if I have really high HP troops, they're not going to get killed by anything except the Purgatory Tower, especially if I have healer healing them. Basically, if it's not going to get 1 shot or 2 shot, with healers, they're not going to die anyways. The only thing that can kill them is heroes and the Purgatory Tower. So having more troops that do not die in one hit and have the ability to do damage and can stand in front of Zhao Yun and be one of the targets for the Purgatory Tower is very beneficial in Alliance Dungeon, because you want to keep your heroes survive as long as possible no matter which hero you're using. So the Greedy Captain is a very good choice for that. However, even at level 5, it might not be enough unless you have the treasure that buff their HP and probably maybe their damage as well. But I'm looking forward to upgrade them to a higher level so I could use them more often and I'm more effective in Alliance Dungeon. So that is it for this video. In the next video, we'll take a look at the Heavy Cavalry. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.